the pale blue dot.
This is your first time doing a podcast?
Yeah.
No, but you host a podcast, don't you?
Sorry, that's true. Through work I do.
Yeah.
So we officially started, have we?
We were on. We're on.
Oh, nothing like a bit of warning.
Yeah, I know. I don't often give warning. Sometimes I'll say welcome to the My Mate podcast and other things, but...
You're not going to?
Nah.
Okay. All right.
Well, I could. Welcome to the My Mate podcast.
Thank you. It is your podcast. You can do whatever you like.
That's true.
I do podcasts through work, so that's not true.
Yeah.
Not with camera, though. We just do my voice.
Would you ever... Are you going to move on to camera?
We might one day.
Yeah.
We'll see how we go.
Yeah.
But we're in the early stages of all the podcast stuff, so...
Yeah.
You know, it's all fairly new to us. So.
And new to you?
Very new to me.
Well, no, actually, no, not really, because you've been doing radio for...
Oh, radio, yeah. I was a radio newsreader many years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm not unfamiliar with technology and radio and microphones and things like that. So
well, this was a long time coming.
It was. I never thought you'd ask, actually.
What? What? Really? I thought I've asked before.
Well, you have, and then you've cancelled.
That's true.
Many times.
That is true. That is true. The truth comes out.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, okay.
Oh, well, no, it is good that we're finally doing a podcast together.
Absolutely. I was thrilled to bits when you asked me this morning.
Yes. Well, to give everyone a bit of background, we went for coffee this morning.
We did.
I paid for it all, actually, which is very generous.
You haven't changed, have you?
No, look, I paid for 2 coffees.
You did.
Dad paid for everything else.
There was banana cake, there was fritters.
There was everything.
There was avocado, smashed avocado.
God.
You've set me back a week.
I know. I'm sorry. No, but it's good. I think you and I are very similar. We're very lucky that we obviously have unconditional love.
Yes.
You know, being father and son, but we actually
Absolutely.
are best friends as well.
Yeah.
Which is good.
It is.
And I think it is lucky because there are a lot of people out there that just don't have that, you know?
True.
But, yeah, I guess I wanted to start the show by asking something which I don't think I've actually asked you before.
Right.
Which is, how did you get into writing?
How did I get into writing? Well, I started life as a newspaper journalist, so I guess that was my beginning. But I liked writing when I was at school.
Yeah.
I loved doing essays, writing essays, ancient history, modern European history, all those things, and there was a lot of writing involved.
Yeah.
So I guess that was my forte. Mathematics and physics and chemistry certainly weren't. So I got into the writing and, I guess getting the job in newspapers when I left school was a natural progression. So I've always been interested and just moved on from there, basically. Yeah.
And you still love it now?
I do.
Yes.
No, I love it even more in many respects. I think I've got better. I think in the early days I struggled a bit with writing. Newspaper writing in particular is quite different to just writing essays. So it took me a little while to get into that groove.
Yeah.
But then I progressed. I think after a couple of years I got the idea of how it all was, how you're supposed to write, certainly for newspapers. And then, I just got better at my craft as I went along. And then I did radio for a long time, and that writing style is different again to newspapers. So it's short, sharp, and all present tense rather than, say said, you say says, things like that. And then now with the magazine that I edit, and I still write a few stories for that, so I do enjoy it. Yeah, it's good. I love writing.
And you have your own book, obviously, as well. Where is that
do.
book?
Where did I put my book?
It's somewhere, isn't it?
It is. I think I put it in my...
Hang on, I'll go and get it. I'll go and get
Okay,
it.
thank you.
You can edit this out.
A free plug. No, well, it's in...
Yeah, of course.
I'll just talk amongst myself while you're here.
Please do, Dad.
Okay. Anyway, I'm going to get a free plug with my book, so that's good. Thank you, Tom. It's actually in my bedroom.
Yeah, where about? Oh,
well, that's not my bedroom.
Yes.
How soon we forget. You did used to live here not long ago.
Here it is.
Yeah, thank you. So, I wrote this in England back in the early 1990s. And then thanks to you got me back on it again. Bid the past farewell. You can purchase a copy through Amazon or any of those major book chains.
Oh, Dad, you're right. Right into the market.
Marketing's not my forte, but since you've given me the opportunity for a free plug, bid the past farewell. Thank you very much.
Have a look.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good. It's really good.
You got me back into it. I left it for a few years, and again, that was an interesting experience.
That's it there.
And then I put a lot more effort into it a couple of years ago, and then self-published last year.
Yeah.
These days, it's so much easier to do that, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, really enjoy it. So thank you for your efforts there, Tom.
No, well, thank you because you were my biggest inspiration with writing. I can't remember if it's a memory or if it's just some sort of like visual I have of just seeing you always writing, especially when you were in between jobs. I remember you were writing a lot and all that sort of stuff. And for some reason just really clicked with me. I just thought it would be really cool. It's very, very fulfilling to get words out on a piece of paper. And my writing's probably a little bit different to yours. You're more fiction based than me. But anyway, I mean, fiction is just a kind of elaborate or exaggeratory way of expressing yourself anyway. So
well, it is, and it's funny because I always, when I go for my power walks in the morning, I'm always thinking of things in my brain and writing other stories in my brain as I go along. Yeah. So it's funny. I really don't stop thinking about what another novel could be about, and different characters and so forth. So this is the first one. I'm working on a second one, and we'll see where we go with that.
Yeah. And so give us the plot with bid the past farewell. I was about to say bid the fart farewell. Let's hope so.
I'm glad it wasn't titled that, otherwise
bid the fart farewell, the bestseller.
No, would have gone nowhere probably.
Hopefully not the fart.
Exactly. Fiction novel set in London in the early 1990s. The IRA are still prevalent. This was before the peace process, long before Brexit. And a couple of characters get involved with a few IRA types, and there's a bit of violence in there, a bit of sex, a bit of everything, really. Yeah.
Expressing yourself, Dad.
Well, no, it's a fiction novel.
Yeah.
It's not my life.
Oh, God.
So anyway, it was fun, and as you know, your mother and I were together then. She was a great support. So I'd write 10 pages a day, longhand on A4 sheets. Crazy. And then read them to her when she got home. And then, just sort of sat there for a long time. Did a few drafts when we first came back to Melbourne. And then you came along and Lauren came along. I didn't have a lot of time for anything, really. Yeah. And then only revisited it again, thanks to you, when you suggested that about 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. And then went through, did another 3 or 4 5 drafts and got it to a stage where I'm pretty happy with it.
Pretty happy with it?
I'm never totally happy with anything I write. Yeah. I am a bit of a perfectionist.
Do you think that serves you?
Oh, I don't know. Sometimes it can drive you mad, but that's just what I am. And if I see my spelling generally is very, very good. Yeah. But just things like hyphens or commas or whatever, which for most people these days, commas mean nothing. No. They don't really care about commas, but I tend to fixate about things like that. Yeah. So anyway, that's just me, and whether being a perfectionist is a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know, because you're never totally happy. But I'm 99% happy with the book, so that's good.
I think like perfectionism as well, to just play the advocate a little bit here, or the devil's advocate, I should say, is like a bit of a way to make an excuse for why something isn't fine just to go out now, because perfectionism is impossible. And there's going to be... I read a book a couple of months ago that there was 3 mistakes to a page on average. Like, it was just terrible. But if you're always striving to be perfect in something, you never will be. It'll be impossible.
No, that's right. We're all human and we all make mistakes.
Yeah. I still struggle. I don't struggle with that, I don't think, anymore. But yeah.
No, well, as you said, you're a bit like me, so...
That's true.
It's just the way it is. I'm sorry about that. You've got my genes.
Well, strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
We tend to think about things a lot, but I know. So take us back to your childhood, Dad. What were you like as a kid?
Early days, I was a bit of a class clown, a bit of a rat bag, actually. I was.
Oh, shit.
I did. Well, the first recollection of being naughty was squirting my grandmother.
Oh, hang on.
With a hose.
Let's edit.
She deserved it. I was only 4 at the time, but she deserved it. Yeah. I have no idea what she did to deserve it. But anyway, I was in the bad books with dear old Auntie Maud for many years because I squirted her.
Dad,
she wasn't
trying to keep it PG here.
I know. With a hose.
Yeah.
Out the back. Just behave yourself. Dear old Auntie Maud, she didn't forgive me for a long time, but years later she did, because I used to go and visit her with my mum. So she did forgive me. Yeah. But that was the earliest recollection of being naughty. But then in class, I used to sort of get up to a bit of no good and try and make the other kids laugh and then get into trouble. So, 6 of the best, or not so much 6 of the best, that's not true. But Mrs. Kelly in grade 3 gave me the yardstick across the backside a couple of times.
Really?
Hurt. Oh, yeah.
Just on your ass?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
This was 70s?
No, 60s.
60s.
60s, but she was actually a really good teacher. It's funny, she was old school, and but she was very fair. It's funny what you remember. I was only 8, but I can still remember her being a good teacher and being fair. She wasn't nasty. She wasn't a violent person, but that's the way you kept a class under control in those days. So yeah, I got the 6 of the best. But if you did the right thing, you got a fruit tingle. So
really,
yeah.
What do you mean, Dad? You're killing it.
I'm not trying to.
Anyway. Squirting your grandmother and getting a fruit tingle here.
I said I was a bad boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, those were the days.
Yeah.
But no, she was a good teacher. But yeah, I was a bit of a class clown. I used to try and make the other kids laugh.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that was just me.
Yeah.
But over time, I sort of settled down a bit.
And then year 12, you were the captain.
Yeah, year 12, well, I repeated matric. It was called matric back then, and back in Adelaide days, matriculation. But I repeated year 12 and I got elected school captain, so that was great.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed that, and that was good for self-confidence and public speaking and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, that was an enjoyable time. And also repeating, it was much easier the second time round because I basically did the same subjects. And so I found it quite easy. The first year, I think a lot of it was just I wasn't studying properly and I didn't know how to study properly, and I had a bit of anxiety and all sorts of things. So
in the first time you did year 12,
yeah.
What was the anxiety about?
Oh, I don't know. Probably just exams. I don't think anyone really likes exams.
No.
And in those days, the end of year exams counted for most of your marks, so you had to perform then, or that was it. Whereas now, I think it's a lot different. You pick up marks or accrue marks as the year goes on, and the end of year exams just are a bit of that. So it was a different era. So you put pressure on yourself too. That's the way it was. But the second time round, I just sort of breezed through it, and I was school captain, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, what was being a school captain like? You said before, you just mentioned it's good for self-confidence and all that sort of stuff. Did you feel, obviously 18 years old, it's tough to like reflect, but did you feel like you were worthy of being the school captain? And
yes, I did. I didn't. The year before, I came close to being elected school captain too, but my very good friend Pete got elected, and he was absolutely the right choice. He
Pete
was
Barrett?
great. Yeah.
Did you really the school captain?
Yeah.
Shit, I didn't know.
I followed in his footsteps.
Right, very good.
Yeah, no, he was very good. He was a very good school captain. So, and I wouldn't have been ready for it anyway. I was still sort of trying to cope with studying properly and doing other things. So it wouldn't have been my time. But the second year round, and I wasn't going to go back to school, but Mum and Dad suggested I do it. Would be good for self-confidence and other things, and they were absolutely right.
Yeah.
And look, it just happened, and I was very chuffed, as they say, to be elected by the other kids, and also the teachers and the young people then, or the other year 12 students weren't in my class all the way through. So for them to give me the nod of approval was quite humbling. It was good.
And how did you go with public? Because I used to ask you for public speaking advice all the time.
Yeah.
Did it come naturally to you, or?
It did and it didn't. There were still times you get nervous, but I did a lot of drama too when I was at school, and that drama is very good for your self-confidence. So even though I've never liked being the centre of attention at all, I enjoyed drama. So even by being a witch in a grade 7 play, I was a very good witch too.
Male witch?
On a bike.
A warlock? Or?
I wasn't a warlock.
Genuine witch?
I think I was a female witch.
Very good.
I've no idea. I can't remember.
Very progressive for the times.
It was very progressive. A transgender witch I was.
Very good.
Anyway, I enjoyed that, and then I played Lysander in Midsummer Night's Dream when I was 16, and that was good because that was with the girls' school down the road, Loretto, and that was good for my self-confidence too, because I was still fairly immature in many respects, certainly in terms and relationships. I remember the drama teacher one day saying, "David, you're supposed to fall in love with 2 women in this play. At the moment, I'm not getting that." And I went thinking, I'm a 16-year-old, what are you talking about? And there were a couple of people in the park rolling around having a great time. And she said, "Now look at them, that's how you're supposed to behave." And I still go, I think I went bright red. Thinking, right, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not sure how this works, but anyway, it was all good fun.
They're having sex.
Well, they weren't, but they were certainly very close.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so anyway, that was good, but that was all good for self-confidence and playing Lysander and Midsummer Night's Dream. It's still one of my favourite plays, certainly Shakespearean plays. It's really good.
Yeah. And did, because that confidence, it's funny you said that, you don't like to be the centre of attention. And I think you're almost to the other side so much where you the most generous person I know, it's almost to the point where you make sure that you're not the centre of attention. But how was it? It's just interesting that, you said like you were happy being the school captain role.
Yeah.
I just can't see how that wasn't challenging given you don't like being the centre of attention.
Well, it was challenging to some extent, but I guess I was humbled by it, the fact people voted me in. And each Monday at Assembly you'd have to get up and talk about something.
Yeah.
So some Mondays I didn't have much to talk about, so I'd start off with football scores for the weekend or something. But it was a leadership role and you're supposed to be there as a leader, so you'd find things to talk about. And I just saw that as an important role and a sort of a conduit between the teachers, the headmaster and the students. So I found it enormously satisfying. So I guess I saw that slightly different as to my normal worry or concern about being the centre of attention.
Yeah. So did you almost see it like you were playing a role, like a leadership role, and you could kind of mould into that character and then keep yourself separate?
To a point. I'm not sure if I thought of it quite like that. I just... I would never look at it as being, you put your hand up for a leadership role, I'd probably be the last person to do that.
Yeah.
But because this was a vote thing between teachers and students, and I always had in the back of my mind, perhaps I was half a chance. And I was a prefect the year before too.
Yeah.
So I had that experience anyway. I don't know, look, I was humbled by it. I thought it was terrific. And I thought I'd enjoy it, which I did. I really did. I've never been an authoritarian sort of character, so there were times, especially in the old days, prefects used to go around telling kids to pull up their socks and whatever. That wasn't me. I wasn't like that at all. But there were a couple of times where we heard that some students had left the school and they were down the shops having a smoke or whatever, and the headmaster came up to me and said, can you go down and just see if you can round them up? So, and that was fine, and we did that, but I didn't go down there and start yelling and screaming. I just wandered down with a few friends and said, guys, this isn't really the way to do things. School hours, get back, without mentioning cigarettes and other things. And so no one really got into trouble, but people were pretty good in those days. They understood they were doing the wrong thing and they'd go back to school or whatever,
Yeah.
But it was a very different era back in the 70s, of course.
Yeah, for good and bad reasons. I think,
yeah.
Someone with potential for leadership, it's good to kind of see if they like it, expose them to those opportunities. And, why don't you like being the centre of attention, do you feel?
Don't know. That's why I really haven't had too many birthdays. I had a 21st, I had a 40th, and I'll probably have a 60th. Yeah. That's every 20 years. I don't know.
So you're technically 3 years old.
Yeah, technically, exactly right. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. Some people love being centre of attention and love parties, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely fine. But it's just not me. I'd rather go and enjoy a party, but not necessarily be standing there thanking everyone for turning up and thank you, Mum, Dad, God, President Trump, whoever, whatever.
Dad, we're 20 minutes in and the word Trump has come up.
Damn, I mentioned his name.
That's okay.
Well, that's right.
We'll steer clear.
Thank you. I brought him up. It's my fault.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're all different. There's no right or wrong. It's just, I'm just one of those people that prefer not to be the centre of attention. Yeah.
Is it like balanced, or do you think it's kind of like held you back a little bit, or?
Possibly held me back a little bit.
Because some people are just naturally introverted. Some people are more agreeable. Some people naturally are more disagreeable. But if it's that neutrality, or if actually it's something that they've learned that they then need to unlearn to continue to grow. Like, is it just naturally who you are, you think?
Possibly. I'm not really introverted. I wouldn't call myself an introvert.
Yeah.
But I'm in between introvert, extrovert. I can be either. But I just prefer to be a little quieter. I mean, I might have been the class clown when I was 8 and 10 or whatever. But over the years, I've sort of taken on a slightly different role. That doesn't mean to say that I can't be. Put my hand up or stand up and say things when I need to. But I just don't necessarily do it all the time. Or I'm not naturally like that.
Yeah, it's funny because I I don't know. It's just funny how we kind of perceive ourselves, because I see you as this writer and you host the podcast and you're an editor and you know, you were school captain. Like when you first told me that, I was mind blown, you know. But you just I don't necessarily. It's like I think there's like a difference between just naturally not being the center of attention, and kind of living your life. I don't know. I just
Yeah, look, I don't know either, and you're right about what you said about how people perceive you. It's different how because you know yourself really well.
Yeah.
And other people, well, some people have a pretty good idea, some don't have a very good idea, and how people perceive you is interesting. I don't know. I've always liked to be friendly to people and have people like me, absolutely. But perhaps to the point where I've been too soft with some people and not been hard enough, because you can't be friends with everyone at the end of the day. It's it's not going to happen. That's just me. This is my personality. I guess my father was a bit like that too.
He was what?
He was. People liked him. He wasn't an authoritarian figure. He got on well with people, and he just sort of went with the flow. Perhaps too much so sometimes. And I think I might be a bit like that too.
Yeah. Okay. Did you have a good relationship with Barry?
Had a great relationship. Yeah, he was fantastic. Not as close as you and I are.
Yeah.
We had a different relationship. Dad went through the Second World War, and he didn't really open up. So we'd talk. You know, we'd often have in the early days when I was in the newspapers in Adelaide. We'd go and have a lunch every now and then, and we'd have a great time. We'd have a couple of beers, a couple of red wines, a couple of ports. It was the early 80s.
So much so you didn't have to say anything.
It was the early 80s.
Anyway, good chat.
Yeah, long lunches in those days. You don't get away with it now. I wander back on the typewriter and start writing a story going, now, what am I trying to write? But we didn't do it that often, but just occasionally. But we got on really well. But we certainly didn't talk like you and I talk. And my regret is that I didn't ask him more about the war and his experiences and all that sort of thing. I wish I had. He might not have said much. He might have said a bit. I don't know.
Yeah, well, our relationship definitely saved me. You know, when I was struggling a bit, like just learning more about the way you saw the world, and I was just beginning to look into how genetics play a role. You know, in terms of just natural exposure to anxiety, and even just on a general note, like the way you see the world. And you know, when you'd start to talk to me about, you know, how you dealt with some anxiety when you were at a similar age, like it really helped me kind of understand myself as well. You know, do you think you would have got that from Barry? Do you think he probably saw the world in a similar way?
I honestly don't know. He was lucky. I mean, you're lucky to be here. I'm lucky to be here.
Yeah.
Because my father could have died in the Second World War. And his father, as you know, he was lucky to get through World War One, and he didn't actually make it to the trenches in France, but he had very bad asthma and nearly died in London. Got over that. Then he had a really bad case of pneumonia. Was back in hospital for a while. Got out. He was about to be sent off to France, and then he got the Spanish flu, and he was the only one in his ward who allegedly survived. So he was a sickly fellow, Papa Bill, but he survived, and then. Had Dad went to World War II, he survived, so we're lucky to be here.
No wonder we've got some fucking anxiety.
Well, exactly, I know. I wake up in a cold sweat every night.
Yeah, I think I've got the Spanish flu.
It's in your mind.
Yeah, very true.
It's all good. Yeah. But it makes you wonder about immune systems, and it may not be related, but Papa Bill was lucky to live past 1920, and yet then Dad survived World War II. So it is extraordinary, really, how these things come to pass. But when I feel a cold coming on, I start getting all anxious. Oh, Spanish flu.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, isn't it? So he married. Was Papa Bill from Australia?
Yeah,
he
was born in Adelaide.
Yeah, his family were Irish.
Yeah.
Right, and they came over, and then
I get confused. My brother John knows this far better than I do.
Yeah,
but one side came from England, but most of the others came from Ireland.
Yeah,
two brothers from Ireland went to Adelaide in the 1860s or where. So that's where it all started. But Papa Bill's lineage, I'm not sure. I get confused. So I really don't know. But they were, look, for someone who was really sickly, he obviously had something. 'Cause
Yeah.
he survived 3 times. He could have died. He got through it all. So I'm not sure how that worked out.
Yeah.
But thank God he did, because we wouldn't be here today.
Very true. Very true.
By the way, I had my flu shot yesterday too.
Oh, very good.
Yeah,
good.
don't want to get the Spanish flu.
Spanish flu shot.
Oh yeah, it wasn't Spanish flu.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but I get that now. I've had it ever since we got swine flu 10 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Remember that time?
Yep.
Yeah, you, me, Mum and Lauren.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, we all did, but not as bad as Spanish flu. But I remember feeling distinctly unwell for quite a few days.
I know.
I couldn't drink any red or anything. It was really quite sad.
That meant you were seriously unwell.
I was seriously unwell. I could only look at it. I couldn't taste it.
Yeah.
So I know I'm sick when I can't taste a red.
Yes, true. I know. So, Dad, take us to 18 years old, 19 years old.
Yep.
Straight out of school.
Yep.
Who were you? What were you thinking about life? A lot of the demographic that listens to this show is kind of 18 to 35.
Right.
Just a bit of a life advice, but I'm also kind of steering the direction into obviously what you and I spoke about when I was dealing with some mental health issues as well.
Sure. 18, I was pretty anxious. I mean, we didn't know about anxiety back then like we do today. Because I chatted to Mum occasionally saying, I'm really worried about this. I keep thinking I'm going to die in a car accident. And she said, you're just growing pains. Everything was put down to growing pains in those days.
Your brain's growing.
Your brain's growing, everything else is growing. So you'll be right. So didn't have a great understanding, not Mum's fault, it was just a different era. I had my anxiety back then. But I've lived with it for 50 odd years, 45 years. And back then, I don't know, I was just like anyone. When I left school, I got a job in the newspaper within a week. So I was earning money within 2 weeks of leaving school. So I've never had money issues as such. I did get accepted into Adelaide Uni to do an arts course, but I gave that away. I thought I'd rather have the money.
Yeah.
And being a journalist, it was sort of a career path at that stage. And getting back to what I said earlier about writing, so I love writing. So I fell on my feet straight away in terms of all of that. And I was just a normal young kid, went to parties on the weekend, socialised with the girls at the pub, the Loretto girls. We had great parties back in the day. There was no random breath tests, certainly not in Adelaide back in those days.
Seatbelts?
Seatbelts had just come in, because seatbelts were. I got my licence in 1976, and they had been mandated or legislated then, so you had to wear a seatbelt, but certainly not random breath testing. So can't say that I was always totally sober, getting behind the wheel, but I was actually very sensible. I'm not excusing it, but I was never a hoon.
No.
I never drove. I hated fast cars, and I never drove fast myself.
Did that have anything to do with the anxiety?
It probably did.
Yeah.
Probably did.
Because I think some people think of anxiety has just such a associative, whole vocabulary to it. When you hear the word anxiety, it's like, A, B, and C, business. But like, it's evolved to help us.
Yeah.
And, if you're worrying about something all the time, obviously you're going to be very narrow-minded, focused, making sure whatever that is that you're worrying about doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, it's what it's anxiety exactly, and you have these fears, unjustified fears about things that may happen, that may not happen, or whatever, and it's a crazy thing, and it's crazy, but it doesn't stop you from having those thoughts. So I went through a real period where I thought I'm going to die in a car accident. So that probably did feed my sensible driving, and I always was a sensible driver. And the one time I did get a huge surprise was when Stevie and I went to a party one night, and it was late at night, and we set off, and Stevie was in the back seat. This is my brother Stephen. He was 18 months younger. No, 15 months younger than me. We set off, I was driving, he and his girlfriend were in the back seat having a kiss and a cuddle. I can't remember her name, but I'm sure she was a lovely girl.
John.
Not quite.
Yeah.
Anyway, we drove off, and the car, I thought it had a flat wheel, because it was all very bumpy. And Stevie said, "It's Dave, what are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm fine, what's wrong?" And he said, "You're driving on the footpath." So I had 2 wheels on the footpath, 2 wheels on the road. I shouldn't admit to this too, it's really very bad, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So the car was sort of like that. It was half on the footpath and half on the road.
That's God.
Anyway, that gave me a huge fright, and I thought, right, that's really crazy, you've got to behave myself. So
Did you just fall asleep for a second?
oh no, I wasn't. No, I wasn't asleep. I was just driving badly, basically, but only doing about 10 k's an hour.
Oh yeah.
So, that did give me a fright that night. I thought, no more.
Yeah.
So it's not justifying
Sensible.
drink driving at all. And as I said, I was a sensible driver, but it doesn't. I think young people today are much more sensible. I know the rules are harsher, but they've got to be.
Yeah.
Because there's no, you just got to be sensible.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably they probably are far more sensible, because obviously the news, not that I watch the news, but the news doesn't report all the good drivers out there, just reports the car crashes and things. So they probably seem like they're a lot worse than they actually are. But I think, fatalities on the roads has reduced significantly.
Well, it destroys families.
Yeah.
It's unacceptable. And when people speed and
for something
on drugs
irresponsible,
it's just unacceptable. And look, you can justify anything what you did in your day, because no one's perfect and we've all done silly things. And as I said, the only redeeming feature from me when the times when I was over the limit was I never hooned. I did go quite slowly.
Yeah.
Because I thought I can't be responsible for killing someone, or apart from myself.
Yeah.
I just don't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
So, and I was also conscious of the fact my father had a high profile job at the time, and I had to be sensible and I couldn't embarrass him. So it was all of that. Yeah. But anyway, look, a normal upbringing like that, except for a bit of anxiety here, there and everywhere.
And how has it changed? We said in having coffee this morning that it has reduced since then, but what I'm really interested in is, because I went through a process of trying to figure out my own tools and things.
Yeah.
Did you, how did you get through it? Because you have it a little bit now.
I do. I still have anxious moments.
Yeah.
I still do after all these years.
How did you reduce it at that time? Because it sounded like it was quite bad.
There were moments where it could be, and there were moments that stopped me from doing things.
Yeah.
And at the time, I just thought, well, that's normal. Everyone has anxiety, and it's just the way of the world. It's just the way it is. I'm not sure how I've got. Perhaps just because I've got older and wiser, and things don't worry me as much anymore. But I can still have my moments where I think I'll wake up and think, oh, I've got this to do today. I'll go, oh, what if that happens? What if this happens? But that sort of to the same extent, it doesn't happen as much anymore.
Yeah.
So perhaps it's just because I'm older and wiser. But I think anxiety can be with you all your life, really. And it's one thing I haven't done, which is what you've done, is meditate. And I think meditation is probably a very good thing to do.
Yeah. And
it's just training your brain again, because I've got an older brother, Michael, who meditates regularly and has for years.
Because he was in a bad way.
He was, He went through his bad times too.
We've got it in the family a little bit, don't we?
Well, I think a lot of families have it.
Yeah.
I think anxiety is just so prevalent, and the good thing these days is people talk about it and we discuss it a lot more. Whereas back when I was a teenager, anxiety was a word. It was in the Oxford Dictionary, but people didn't probably really understand it. They didn't understand how badly it affects you. So at least nowadays we're getting a better idea of all these things, which is so important. The more you talk about it, the better it is, really. Yeah,
and I think, just to jump back on how you kind of dealt with it, ignorance is bliss with a lot of things, and there is in psychology a thing called acceptance theory, where if you just try to stop figuring out how to get through it, but accept that you may just have it for the moment, it actually does tend to calm us. So I think if, in a backwards way, Margie saying, oh, it's just growing pains or something, and you kind of following this story that everyone goes through it, which is true to a certain extent, and accepting it probably would have actually helped you than maybe necessarily opening up a can of worms and trying to, look at every single nook and cranny of how to fix it, It may have helped.
Yeah, quite true. And Mum was great. I mean, the good thing, I always felt better after I talked to her. It's like anything. I think once you talk to someone about something, you do feel better. Yeah. You don't want to hold things in. That's the worst thing you can do. You need to talk. So even though Mum's idea of anxiety was sort of limited in some respects, it was great to talk to her, and she was an ear for me, whereas I never really talked to my father about it. Perhaps also in those days it wasn't the manly thing to do, and I wasn't sure. I mean, Dad was great. He would have been fantastic. So it wasn't just his fault I never brought it up. But we'd talk about football and things like that, manly things. Manly things.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, with your generation, you're just so much more open, which is fantastic. It's really, really good. I wish we'd had that when I was young.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. There's always the grass is always greener with certain things.
Yeah.
Like I love how open we are in this day and age, and I'm very lucky and grateful to be alive in this day and age. But then sometimes I look back in the way things were with the structure and men talking in a certain way and women talking in a certain way or whatever. Yeah. Some of that stuff is good too.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're ever going to get it perfect.
No, but I think it's certainly getting a lot better.
I think it's getting better.
It's getting better, and just talking. You've got to talk. You've got to talk. Agree. And just in the early days of my marriage, I didn't talk as well as I do now. I didn't communicate as well.
Well, we helped each other communicate, both you and I, because I was struggling. Our relationship as friends, we were struggling a bit, and in this very unit, there were lots of heavy moments.
Well, there were more heavy moments in the other unit.
That's
if
true.
I remember rightly.
Back Campbell.
You're having your third red wine for the night. You got to stop it.
I know, God. I know. Well, that's why I wrote that chapter, talking to Dad. Yeah. I think it was good, but God, I would have been a nightmare. How was that at the time?
You were a nightmare.
Yeah. Because I was an adult. I was 20, 21.
You were. No, you were just struggling with a few things, and I understood that, so that was absolutely fine. That was, I knew what was going on, and you got through it, so that was the main thing.
Did you see yourself in me? Not in the way I was acting out, because I was just resentful and projecting all these things that I had inside me, but did you see the anxiety? Because I had the anxiety at the same time you had the anxiety.
Sure.
That was unbelievable. When we were speaking about that, it was crazy.
So I wonder we're still here.
I know. No, but what I'm saying, you went through it at the same age that I went through it.
Oh, yes.
That was amazing when you said that to me. It really helped, It's crazy.
Well, yeah, we did. When we reacted differently, because my parents were still together, so it was a slightly different, and it was a different era and whatever. But we did. Yeah, I started suffering from anxiety from about the age of 16. That story I told you when I was painting the bathroom wall in my parents' home, and I suddenly started getting all these terrible thoughts, and my life is going to end in a car, and blah blah blah. And it's just that fixation and thinking and overthinking things. We did. And that's probably why I could help you, because I understood it.
Yeah.
I knew what you're experiencing, and perhaps offer some advice and whatever, how to help.
Yeah. I think the best thing you did was just offer the insight of the recognition of the thoughts don't identify you, just because your mind's going crazy in all these thoughts and facets and possible scenarios. That doesn't mean that that's who you are, No. And you kept saying they're just the thoughts. And initially that really annoyed me, because it was just yeah, but what do I do about them? But I think as that idea became more ingrained into me, it was kind of oh, that's right. I'm not my thoughts. Thoughts are just these things that try to analyze situations to keep you safe.
Yeah, that's right. And everyone deals with things differently, and it's a matter of finding the best way for you. I think you've cottoned onto it much, much, much quicker than I have. Anxiety and whatever. I've sort of had it all my life. Not as much now, but certainly in the early days, if I'd known then what I know now, I would have certainly handled things differently.
But you wouldn't be the man you are today.
No, that's true. I might have probably been a better man.
Well, I wonder if you would have written this book.
Well, but who knows? Yeah. That's right.
Because this sort of stuff, this is why I think you and I love it so much. It gives us an outlet to express ourselves.
Sure.
Although this is fiction, doesn't really matter. Just being able to write and have thoughts in your head and then construct them on a piece of paper logically is a great tool to have.
True, and there is a bit of the class clown in the lead character there, who's not totally me, but there are bits of him in there. I mean, you can't help that when you're writing characters. That's just the way it is. And there are a few different people who I've gathered bits from to put in their particular characters. So that's just the way it is. But
we won't mention who they are.
No, they shall remain nameless. I don't want to be sued. So
yeah.
Anyway, no, it's all fairly harmless, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I probably could have made one of the characters more anxious. That would have been, but perhaps in the next book, anxiety could play a bigger part.
Yeah.
Though they do have their anxious moments, but that's a bit different. We can all have anxious moments.
Yeah, well, we all, I mean, it's important. Otherwise, we're just going to be irresponsible and ignorant, and, you know, we won't think of the future, and we'll dumb and all that sort of stuff. But if it's impacting your life negatively, and I don't think yours does anymore, does it?
No,
Yeah.
no, I don't think
Pretty
so.
content.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I have no real issues, to be honest. When I look around me and some of the things going on, I can't complain, honestly. I got a pretty good life. I've got a job 5 days a week, got my own little humble abode here, go overseas every now and then, so it's all good. So as I said to you earlier, if I retire in 5 years, I might write more books and do that sort of thing, because I do enjoy the writing, but we'll just wait and see. Anyway, it's all positive. As you said, you've got to be positive, or being positive is far better than being negative, because we all know people who are negative too much, and that's not good. That's not good for your brain, or being anxious either, anxiety. So it's all about being positive.
What was it like becoming a father?
Great. I always wanted to be a father, so that was wonderful. Yeah, no, really great moment when you were born.
Does your whole life change?
People absolutely.
People say there's, you know, life before having kids and then after having kids.
Oh, your life definitely changes when you have children. Yeah. Yeah, you're free and easy. You do your own thing, and then when Bubs comes along, you're putting everything into baby, really. So you get early days sleep deprivation and all that sort of thing. Yeah. But I don't think of any of the negatives now. They sort of wash by me. I mean, you're a bit more difficult than Lauren.
Was I?
Say that you were, yeah.
I'm telling everyone I was great.
No. But
I'm still a bit more difficult than Lauren.
The real story is but you'd wake up at 3 a.m. and I'd be putting you in the pram and wheeling you up and down the hallway in Northcote. Yeah. And whereas Lauren sort of tended to sleep through a bit more, but that was only for a short period, really. And then you got through that. So, but you don't worry about or think about those things now. But you certainly you put everything into your children, and you become less selfish, if you like, if I can put it that way. You have to be. Yeah. That's the way it is, because you've got other lives to look after, and that's important. Yeah. So, but it was a lot of fun. Was it? Yeah. Yeah.
Because why did you always want to be a father? Like, some people don't really realise that until...
Yeah, some don't. Well...
you had a big family.
Had a big family. Came from six children. Yep. So perhaps that had something to do with it. Though some people... My father was an only child, and that's why he wanted a lot of children. So Barry wanted a lot of kids because he was an only child.
That makes sense.
And Margie, my mother, only had the one sister. So, yeah, they ended up having 6 children. And we were all pretty close, which is great. Some families aren't. But my brothers and sister were all different, as everyone is, but we're all close. So we don't see a lot of each other. We're all interstate. But whenever we catch up, it's great. So I think that was it. And I just like children. I've always liked children. So, but I keep telling you, I don't want to be a grandfather too soon. No. So just hold off on that thought for a little while longer, please. But I just love kids. Yeah. So it was great. Yeah, when you came along.
Did the because obviously now you've got to focus all your attention on someone else.
Yes.
Anxiety by definition is very self-centered because it's just this constant self-worry. Did the anxiety dissipate when I had children? Or
increased.
Increased with other things though. Yeah. Wasn't about the car crashes. It was more about like taking care of the children.
Yeah, there were times where when I look back, like you'd be on the trampoline and I'd worry you'd bounce off and pick the brick wall and stuff like that. So you had to work. I had to work at not overly worrying about things. Yeah. Like if you get away, and you've got to be sensible around traffic and things like that. Every parent does. But there was times where I probably worried too much, and children have to fall over. They have to graze their knees. They've got to do all of that. That's a part of growing up. You can't wrap kids in cotton wool. That's the worst thing you can do. Yeah. So there were times I probably was overly protective. Whereas I think Mum was a bit better at just sort of letting you go a bit more. But it was a good balance. It was a good balance when I look at it. But
I would have thought it was the other way around. I didn't know that.
No, I think if anything, I was perhaps a bit too
really
protective.
Okay.
again, if I use the example of the trampoline, when you were on the trampoline, like with Lauren, and you try and push her off.
Oh yeah, that was great. But we used to go nuts on that thing.
Yeah,
like
and
we'd
that's
double
good.
bounce, and I'd fall all the time. And I never felt bubble wrapped. No.
No, well I did. I mean, no, that's probably
and
true.
Mum, many times, Mum, probably let me go out and do my own thing, which is awesome.
Absolutely, that's the way you should. You got to let kids do their own thing. You got to let them fall over, fall off monkey bars, all that sort of stuff. You know, it's you can't wrap kids up. It's wrong. Yeah. So I had to work on that to try and not be too protective and too sort of I'd grimace in the back of my mind. I'd grimace if I saw you bouncing really high.
Your mind would be thinking and
I think, oh, where's this going to go? And then you were bouncing Lauren high and high to see if you could get her bouncing off the trampoline and that sort of stuff. But look, no one died. No broken bones.
True.
So
very true. No
it was all good.
What were you like as a kid? Do you feel like you were overprotected, or do you feel like you had a lot of? It would have been harder for you to be overprotected because you had so many people in your family.
Yeah, we were. No, it was a different world because long before mobile phones, before things you could do with computers. Well, computers weren't around. We'd play outside a lot. We'd be on our bikes. We'd scream around the house on our bikes. We'd fall out of trees, so we'd do all that sort of thing. It was, and I'd hit my brother and then run. I was a much faster runner than Stevie. Yeah. But he had a terrible temper, and I was worried that if he ever caught me, he'd kill me. Yeah. I don't think he ever caught me, so I was pretty lucky in that respect.
Maybe he's still trying.
No. Well, we became very good friends after about the age of 12. So the fighting stopped, and we became good friends. I mean, we were good friends before that, but we just used to fight like cat and dog. But it was a different era. But we just get on our bikes and we'd ride around the neighbourhood, around the streets of Adelaide, and all that sort of thing. It was just it was good fun. Yeah.
And so then, I'm just interested in like the parenting stuff. Did you feel like when I was born? Yeah. Some new parents talk about the fact that it's just so overwhelming that they don't fall in love with the kid straight away, and it takes some time. Like what were the thoughts and the emotions going through your mind and your body when you were holding me and holding Lauren?
Oh, just
was it different? Like
just pure joy, just amazing. This new life. Yeah. This amazing new life. Yeah. I just couldn't believe it. Just being overwhelmed, I guess, more than anything.
Did you know what you were going to do? Like, were you questioning what your life was going to be like? And
no, I just thought it was just a natural progression that you'd have kids and things would just continue. So I never really thought beyond that. I mean, I always wanted children. When you came along and when Lauren came along. And then a lot of fun when you were young, and Christmas time, especially with presents. And of course, Santa exists, as we know.
Very true. I'm having a conversation with him.
That's right. It was just difficult. And
clean shaven.
So that's right. Some Christmases driving to Adelaide and having Christmases over there, and having Santa on board but hiding him. True. That was really difficult. But
yes, very true.
We managed to do it somehow. Yeah. And then it was just fantastic. So I love Christmas. That was fun. I think, with young kids especially, it's a really good time. And birthdays were always fun. And just doing different things, going to parks, going country drives, going to the beach. All of that. It was just... I never thought past each sort of stage. Like I enjoyed each stage, even though I had that sort of overly protective stance at times. I never thought beyond the present, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And just enjoyed the present as we experienced it.
That's meditation. You said before that you haven't really meditated, but that's just being in the moment. It probably really sounds like you were meant to be a father, And I'm so couldn't be happier that you're my dad.
Yeah, I did. And look, that was a role I didn't struggle with. I loved it. No,
you did.
You can struggle with some things in life, but I never struggled with that. Yeah. I would have happily had a couple more. But it wasn't meant to be, and that was fine. It was just
you can push them out.
Well, yeah, that's right. Exactly right. Yeah. So, Yeah, look, very happy with two. Had a boy and a girl. Couldn't. I got a friend in Adelaide who's got 6 girls.
God.
And they're all beautiful girls.
Yeah.
But and I'm not sure. I don't know what their situation is when they were even trying for a boy. But it's just the luck of the draw. But you love your kids. You don't care what gender they are. You just want them to be healthy when they come out. And we've been fortunate with that. So it's all good. But yeah, no, I love my role as a father. No issues there at all.
Would you, if you could go back, would you do anything differently from 0 to 18, Lauren and myself?
Not with Lauren and you. No, not at all. From that life, from 0 to 18, probably not. I had a great childhood. No complaints at all. Very loving parents. Great education. Great friends.
Oh, in terms of being a father.
Oh,
would you have fathered us differently
no,
if you could?
No,
yeah.
no regrets at all in terms of that. No, it was all good. Very positive experiences. Really enjoyed that period of our lives. Or my life, your life, whatever. So no, I wouldn't have done anything differently at all.
Yeah,
not at all. I know we've talked about regrets at times, and I don't think it's good to have. I mean, everyone can regret something, but not to have regrets, plural or big regrets, because I think you learn from whatever you do in life. You do. It's about building success on failure or whatever. Definitely. So I've got no regrets. Little things that anxiety held me back. I remember a New Year's Eve party in Adelaide years ago I didn't go to because there was a storm outside and it was absolutely teeming.
Really?
And not that I was scared of the rain, I love storms and I still do.
Yeah.
But I thought, it's not a good night to, the party was in the Adelaide Hills, and I thought, a few mates were going out, and I thought, no, I'm going to go up there, the weather's terrible. I'd rather, and I had another party to go to, so it wasn't a big deal. So I went to this other party, and I heard the next day hadn't had a drop of rain in the hills. It was just completely dry, and I thought, oh, okay. I might have missed out on, but look, I didn't regret it, and the party I went to was fine too. But that was a bit of anxiety that just I decided there and then I'd go to party B, not party A, because of the weather.
Listening to the anxiety, not
just thinking perhaps driving up the hills in the wet weather and a stormy night. And
really?
Yeah.
You never told me that story.
No, I haven't told you that story.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you had those thoughts, did it lead to... How often would those thoughts come in during the day?
Look, back then, early days, fairly regularly.
Yeah. Unlike
these days. But it didn't hold me back in terms of work or in other ways. Look, if you said if I could go back and change things, if I could go back and get rid of anxiety altogether, sure. Would I like that? Absolutely. I think anybody would. But has it really helped me back? No, probably not.
Do you think you'd be a different person today?
No, I don't think I'd be a different person. I think I'd be the same person. I think my personality would be the same. Definitely. There might have been a few little things like the party that I would have gone to, but so what? We all make decisions at different times, and if you've got 2 or 3 parties to go to, you can't go to them all. So I don't see that necessarily as a bad thing. I don't think I'd change anything. Yeah. Get rid of anxiety. If there was a pill tomorrow, take one pill and you'd have no more anxiety for the rest of your life. Yes, absolutely.
Well, but we were discussing this before, that, if it's a fear-based disorder, then bravery is the idea in moving past it. If it's trauma PTSD, it stems from some specific event in your life, then it, in a very general way of saying this, because obviously every case is subjective, then it comes through accepting the event and trying to formulate a plan so that if that were to happen again, we'd be better prepared for it. But with anxiety as a disorder, I'm just interested into where the fear of the car crashes came from. Was it a movie or did something happen to you?
No, that's a very good question.
Yeah.
No, sorry, that's not I think I do know, because when I was still at school, there was a boy in a year below me who was killed in a car accident with a friend. They were speeding, and they died. Now, I wasn't that close to this guy. I knew him, and that was a bit of a shock. I think everyone's, when you're at school, someone who dies in a car accident or after. Yeah, it's terrible. So that may well have, I can't remember now whether that came before the anxiety or afterwards, but that may well have been a trigger. I honestly don't remember. But that was...
What if that happened to me?
Yeah, exactly. And as I said earlier, even though occasionally was over the limit in those days, I never ever hooned and I never sped. I just had this fear of speeding, so I never did it. So that could well have played a part, and that may have triggered that initial anxiety attack while I was painting the bathroom, my parents' bathroom, and that played in my mind for a couple of years after that.
Yeah.
But it hasn't for a long time. That was one sort of fear that left me a long, long time ago. There have been other things since, but that was an initial fear.
Yeah, yeah, and it would have come through exposing yourself to the fear so that it reduces, because that's becoming more braver. Like if you have a fear of chairs, you know, then I guess the idea is, okay, you can't sit on a chair, but maybe you can look at a picture of a chair.
Yeah.
And then if you can do it for 10 seconds, let's try doing it for 20 seconds. And then just building to the point where you can sit on a chair, and then just making sure that the mind knows not to fear something.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't need to.
No.
You know? But in many ways, like fearing a car crash is fair. It's a pretty rational fear.
Yeah, and yet I love driving. I've always loved driving. I love driving to Adelaide or to wherever. Once I'm in the car, it's great. You know, there's no fear there. It's all fun. It's just the thoughts beforehand. What if? What if a semi-trailer crosses onto the wrong side of the road? What if? Look, you know, it could happen. It could happen to anyone, but you can't have or build fears in your mind, because most of the time they just won't eventuate.
Especially if you're thinking about it. You're going to do what you can to make sure it doesn't.
Yeah, and as I said, I love driving, and your mother and I, we used to love our yearly trips to Adelaide for Christmas and whatever. We'd be taken in turns to drive. In fact, we used to fight each other to get behind the wheel, because we both loved driving. So it was just one of those things. But you've got to be brave. And there are probably times I could have been braver and done things. One thing I'll never do is jump out of a plane. I know you have, but that's been...
Get a tattoo?
More likely you'll get a chance of getting a tattoo than I will of jumping out of a plane, but there's probably not much chance of that either, let me tell you. But you do have to put yourself outside the comfort zone occasionally. Yeah. And it's not easy to do, but I think once you do it, it's like people on those reality shows who do achieve, and they've done something they never thought they'd do. And you can see the elation in their faces. This is great, I've achieved something, and I can understand that. Absolutely. So you've done something you've never done before, and you've been successful at it. Whether it's a cooking show or whatever, so which is great. I mean, I think we all need to think along those lines at times. Yeah. And I haven't, as a rule, over the years.
Haven't thought about things you could achieve?
Or no, I have thought about things I could achieve, but I haven't put myself outside my comfort zone.
Yeah. You like to actually start that.
Yes.
What's one now that comes to mind?
Oh, good question. I don't know, you put me on the spot. I'm not sure. As I said earlier, more writing and all that sort of thing, but I don't see that as necessarily, that's not putting myself outside my comfort zone. Yeah. I'm within my comfort zone.
But more being like recognised for... Can I ask, because I'm struggling with this for myself. Like, I love to write, and I know I got that from you because we're so similar. Yeah. But when I write... I think writing goals and then reverse engineering a plan is the key to finding something that you're passionate about, and then working through those challenges, those day-to-days, to actually tick off the goals, to what you said before, the elation with people when they actually achieve something they didn't think they could. Yeah. But why, if I set the goal, like I'd love to write a New York Times bestseller, it doesn't really motivate me. Like, what motivates me is just the idea. That would motivate me. Well, it does. I mean, obviously I'd love that, but I don't care. Like, I just would write anyway because I just love to write. Is that the same with you? Or? Yes, absolutely. I said to you a few times that I'm not in it to make money. No. At all. If a few people read the book and like it, to me that's great. Because it's more fulfilling just holding a book like this,
Yeah, I never thought I'd do that. Yeah. Yeah. Even when I wrote that initial draft in 1991, A4 with my longhand with pen, I never thought that it would end up being in a hard copy.
There you go.
Fiction novel form. So just to achieve that, as I said, look, if it only sells 100 copies, so what?
100 people have taken the time to read your
Yeah,
words.
yeah, and feedback, and even if people haven't liked it, I know some people have liked it because they've told me.
Yeah.
But even if they don't, that's fine. You can't please everyone. It's like going to a movie. Not everyone likes the same movie.
Not everyone likes the Mind Mate podcast.
Oh, really?
Well,
That's a positive.
Of course. Yeah, I'm sure there are people who are probably bored by it and, constructive feedback and all that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I
It's
mean,
just
feedback's
fun.
good. Feedback is good, whether it's negative, positive. You got to have feedback, whatever you do.
And this is far more meaningful to me than good feedback.
Sure.
Like in 50 years' time, when you're gone, I can
Am
show
I
my
gone in 50
well.
years' time?
I'm saying, hopefully you're still around.
110, probably a good chance I'll
Maybe,
be gone.
yeah. But I can show my grandkids like, hey, look, this was my
Grandpa.
dad. This is who he was.
Yeah.
This is how amazing he was, and
Yeah.
this is how well we got along. I mean, I would. There is.
And that's an achievement. That's
It's
great.
incredible. Like I would pay so much money to watch a podcast of you and Barry talking.
Wouldn't that be great?
This is the
if
thing
he was
about
here today,
podcasts.
all three of us talking about his war experience
It would be phenomenal.
and his father, I know.
And then that would be
that'd
saved for history. And I can be like, wow, my grandfather did this. And I'll never get to see that. And I mean, that's fine. Like, I can't see it because, the technology wasn't around.
No.
But, if my kids and their kids want to know you, I have the opportunity to show them.
That's exactly right, and that's great, and that's a far bigger achievement than writing a book or anything really. That personal family type experience, I think, is just so important. It really is. But look, writing's great, love it, but it's not the be all and end all. It's like people who have sporting careers. Some do really well, some have bad injuries and bow out early, and at least they've given it a go. And they can't help it if they get, a bad injury and it sort of cuts short their career. That's just the way it is. Yeah. But it's it's all good. It's all good.
What's a bit of advice that you could give to someone in the younger demographic, just like looking online, like a bit of advice you give to like an 18 to 25-year-old about life?
Enjoy your life. Take it on. I know that probably sounds cliched, but it's
so
true. Take it on. And do things outside your comfort zone, things that I didn't do when I was that age.
Yeah.
I wish I had perhaps done a few things outside my comfort zone. It's just so easy just to sort of walk down the straight and narrow corridor and not deviate into a side room or whatever, if I can put it that way. But do things. You don't have to jump out of a plane or whatever. Some things might be too difficult, but it might be bungee jumping, it might be getting on jet skis. And even if you have a fear, we all have fears, just do it. And just see it, just a one-off. You might not want to do it again, but you've done it. It really is doing stuff outside your comfort zone. I think can only improve you as a person, and especially if you have a bit of anxiety. I think it's
almost more important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it's easy to be anxious, and I've heard of it. And I've never had such bad anxiety that I've never wanted to leave the bedroom or leave the house. And I know there are people who are or want to stay in bed all day because they're really depressed, and that's really sad and very tough. But I've never had anything as bad as that. But there are things I could have done, like the party at that time, New Year's Eve, gone up in the hills, and just not let my brain go whirling around and putting all these thoughts in there that just weren't true, that weren't real. So I might even get a tattoo one day. Who knows?
Well, my next question is, you've given us the advice to get uncomfortable. What's the next step for you? Like, are you going to try to get uncomfortable now? Like, what are some ideas there with that?
Ooh.
You could put it on record now. Like, what's something that's uncomfortable for you, but you'd like to do it?
I'm not big with heights, as you know.
Yeah. And
I'm going to be in Ireland soon. I could always go and kiss the Blarney Stone again. I did it when I was 23. You're high up in a castle, for those who don't know, and you've got to lean back with your head right back to kiss it. And though you're not going to fall, you can get the feeling that you could fall a long way. And I been there twice. I did kiss the bloody stone once. The second time I bowed out.
Really?
Because I got the fear got the better of me. So I might try that again.
Could you do it and take a photo of it, and then we can put it up?
Well, if I do it, I'll take a photo.
Yeah.
If I don't do it, I won't take a photo.
Yeah, that'd be great if you could do it.
Yeah, but there's something like that. I mean, yeah, heights are not my thing. I can't look down from a long way up.
Yeah.
If I feel protected, I can. If the barrier is up a fair way.
Well, we went up to New York, Empire State Building.
The Empire State Building. I could deal with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine. But if the barrier is a bit lower, I just cannot look down. You know, I find it far too confronting.
Well, we've evolved to fear that. Like,
yeah.
God only knows how many chimps fell off, cliff faces and things, for us to start to worry about what would happen if we approach those areas.
Yeah, well, that's right, exactly.
Yeah.
But heights is one thing. That's why I could never jump out of a plane, and I could never really bungee jump. I'm just not. It's one of those things I just.
All right. Well, what about something a little bit more tangible, like getting uncomfortable, like a goal you could, I'm just because your advice before was so good. I'd just love to see how you'd.
I'm just trying to think. Apart from heights, what else I fear? I don't know. Isn't it funny? If you'd asked me 35 years ago, I'd probably given you a whole lot of things.
Well, some people fear doing this stuff, and you've far more natural at it than me.
Well, no, because I did radio for a long time
That's
as a
true.
newsreader, so I got over fears. Then I still do Vision Australia Radio volunteer once a month, so I present a program. So, microphones and all that sort of thing don't present a fear to me at all. I don't know, Tom, honestly. Perhaps run naked across the MCG. And that's not going to happen either.
Well, let's set the goal.
Well, it used to happen a bit back in the 70s and 80s. People used to love doing that, but they sort of cracked down on it a bit. The fines are too high these days.
Yeah.
Not that I'm suggesting people should do that. But I guess if the Crows won the premiership this year, I could run naked around Caulfield Park.
Oh, God.
No,
I don't think anyone would want to see it.
Like 4 a.m.
No, mate. Could get lucky, dude.
That's right. Put it out.
Yoo-hoo!
Might scare the possums. No, I won't do that.
Yeah.
I'd look, in all honesty and all seriousness, I don't know. I'm just trying to think what fears I've got.
You're pretty good these days. You taught me a lot about how you got through your anxiety and stuff, and it helped me. And
yeah, exactly. And look, it's funny you're talking about. I'm comfortable with radio or talking into microphones and all that sort of thing. I still, if I have a recurring dream, and we all often have recurring dreams. Mine is being in a radio booth, reading the news, and suddenly not having the script in front of me. Suddenly it disappears, and I've got to ad lib as I go, and then I'm sort of stumbling my way through.
But you're so good at that.
Yeah, I know. So it's funny that it's
crazy,
a bit of a dream. Yeah.
Maybe you're good at that because you have that subconscious fear to make sure that it doesn't happen. You never get caught with your pants down, so to speak.
No. Though my father, I can say this because he isn't here. He used to be a lawyer, and then he was coroner in Adelaide for many years. If he had a recurring dream, it was he was in court in his underpants. So go figure. That's not a good thought either.
Funnily enough, you have that same dream, but it's not fear-based.
No, I'm in the radio booth instead. It's just me.
Not even wearing underpants. Well, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right. We all can have funny ideas or funny dreams, and where they come from, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And it could be because I did like radio. I think I was good at it, and I was comfortable doing it. So why I would have strange dreams about being caught out and stumbling when I'm...
Well, it means a lot to you from the sounds of things. You wouldn't want it to... Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, it's apart from kissing the Blarney Stone, I don't think much else is going to happen.
That'd be great, Dad, if you get that photo.
Well, all right, I've got to check the itinerary now. I'm not even sure if we're going to the Blarney
Funnily
Stone.
enough, you're not going there.
Well, we can tee something up at another castle.
True.
We're visiting a few castles, so something will happen somewhere along the line. Anyway, it's all fun. But if I do kiss the Blarney Stone, if I'm there, I'll certainly get someone to take a photo.
That'd be good.
And post it.
Yeah.
Not that most people would find that pretty boring and not very challenging.
It's good to you.
Oh, sure. Just leaning backwards and...
It's like, hey, I can do this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I can prove to myself that I'm capable of it.
Well, we all have little fears, and we all have things that we want to improve upon or we can improve upon. So, and it's no difference between me approaching 60 compared to me at 18 or 21 in terms of that sort of thing and the way the mind works. So, yeah, but if I think of anything in the interim, I'll let you know. But, yeah, just don't ask me to jump out of a plane. It's not going to happen.
Dad, where can people get this? Bid the past farewell.
Well, it's online if you... well, anywhere, Amazon, through Bookstore. I think it's Bookstore, is it? The English thing.
Yep. Book Depository.
Book Depository, thank you very much. Barnes and Noble and Barnes. In America, I didn't have my script here in front of me. I should have written all this out. I didn't know you were going to ask me. Or
Yeah,
it was
of
going to be a
course.
free plug
It's a good
for the
book.
book.
It's a good book.
Thank you very much. I was a bit worried about the sex scenes, but everyone tells me they're fine.
Then he pulled out his microphone.
Well, exactly, but he wasn't in radio. Actually, he was that part of
that was
the
their
character.
name, wasn't it?
No.
He was in radio.
But the lead character, he was retrenched in radio, so that part of it was based on me. But not much else after that. So that was the only initial thing. But yeah, any leading bookstore online, just bid the past farewell, type it in, and away you go, and hopefully you'll enjoy it.
I love it, Dad. Love you lots.
Thank you, love you heaps, and I'm glad you're my son. Couldn't ask for a better son.
Same to you. Thanks, mate.
Good on you.
Hello team, if you did so happen to enjoy this YouTube video, you can hit that subscribe button, you can mash that red button, pound it, bang it, hit it, do whatever you need to do, and I will see you shortly.